Child labor remained a serious issue well into the 20th century, and children often worked in various industries in the USA. A Girl from a Cotton Spinning Factory, 1908. A couple shows their newborn children to their grandparents across the Berlin Wall, 1961. The evolution of the women's swimsuit from 1875 to 1927. John F. Kennedy, Dallas, a minute before the shots rang out, 1963. The audience at a session of hypnotist Anatoly Kashpirovsky for obesity treatment, Russia, 1989. Women make decoy heads to help spot snipers on the front lines, World War I. There are theories that Hitler escaped. According to the most popular, he and Eva Braun left doubles behind and hid in South America, where they lived to old age under false names. The photo allegedly captures a 75-year-old Hitler. Survivors of the Japanese attack on an Australian Navy patrol ship during World War II. They built a raft and were spotted from the air, but due to a storm, they were unable to be rescued that day. They were never seen again. Moroccan Police Commissioner Mustafa Tabet, at his 1993 trial, accused of raping hundreds of women in the country's worst police corruption scandal. The arrest of Rosa Parks for refusing to move to the whites-only section of the bus, USA, 1956. In Japan from the 17th, 19th centuries, there was Anazumo, or female sumo. It originated in districts where there were brothels. Prostitutes wrestled either each other or blind men. Women at Work, 1915. Freed slaves aboard HMS Daphne, 1868. This photo shows the most sought-after prostitute of the 18th century. Blanche Dumas had 3 legs, 4 breasts, and most shockingly, she had 2 sexual organs. A lonely driver escapes during the collapse of the Tacoma Bridge, Tacoma, USA, 1940. One of the warehouses filled to the ceiling with victims' shoes, Auschwitz, Poland, 1944. About 100 people draw lots to equally divide 12 acres of purchased sand dunes. This place would later become the city of Tel Aviv, Israel. The first test of the electric chair on a prisoner sentenced to death, USA, 1956. The last known photo of Charlie Chaplin, USA, 1960. Since many older American cities lacked swimming pools, entrepreneurs devised a mobile, pay-to-use swimming pool on wheels. Siamese Royal Guard, Thailand, late 19th century. Brigitte Bardot became one of the brightest female icons of the 20th century, and at the World's Fair in the Vatican Pavilion, her photo was displayed as a symbol of sin. Russian Imperial Army soldiers in gas masks, World War I. American serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer accidentally took sleeping pills instead of his intended victim, and, upon waking, found himself tied up and raped with a candle. In Congo, Belgians cut off the hands of children and women as punishment for poorly performed rubber collection work, late 19th century. Black humor from Austro-Hungarian pilots. A 1855 advertisement inviting wealthy individuals to a slave auction. The trenches of World War I after 100 years. lumberjacks posing on a giant stump of a sequoia known as Mark Twain in California, USA, 1891. A parade of the German-American alliance in support of Hitler in New York, 1939. Mustache cups, United Kingdom, 19th century. A nurse holds a newspaper bearing the headline announcing the creation of the Salk polio vaccine for a patient, 1955. A captured moth, New York, 1986. Jacqueline Kennedy, in a blood-stained suit, watches Lyndon Johnson take the oath of office after the assassination of her husband, John F. Kennedy, USA, 1963. A young fan at an Elvis Presley concert, Philadelphia, USA, 1957. Liberated prisoners from the German Dachau concentration camp, beating a guard dog, 1945. The Nushu alphabet, invented by women in a province of southern China for communication among themselves, as they were denied access even to primary education. It was used until 1912. Aloysia Veit, Hitler's cousin. She ended up in a mental asylum with psychosis. Later, she was sent to a gas chamber as a mentally ill person. According to Nazi ideology, the extermination of mentally ill individuals was meant to improve the mental health of the nation. A Japanese brothel, 1890. When the pious Portuguese Christians discovered Japan in the 16th century, they lost their minds over the caresses of the geishas, and in exchange, gifted them syphilis. The Crisis in the USA, 1931. Gangster Al Capone was one of the first to organize meals for the poor and homeless during the Great Depression. The iceberg photographed the day after the Titanic sank. There is a high probability that it was the cause of the sinking. Boy Scouts collect money for the survivors of the Titanic, England, 1912. The charred remains of the cabin of Apollo 1. 3 astronauts, Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, died in the cabin. The arrest of Martin Luther King for suing for service in a white-only restaurant, 1964. Soviet soldiers harass a German woman, Germany, 1945. Forget about spy gadgets. In the 1960s, the CIA launched Operation Acoustic Cat. The plan was to train cats to eavesdrop on Russian conversations. The first agent cat, with a microphone in its ear, a transmitter in its collar, and an antenna implanted in its tail, was sent to position but tragically died under the wheels of a taxi. British women working in munitions factories were nicknamed canaries because TNT exposure turned their skin yellow. This toxic work caused severe liver damage, yet they produced 80% of the UK's WWI weaponry. During World War II, the Soviet Army used pigeons to deliver incendiary shells. The birds were dropped from planes with shells attached, which triggered when they landed on enemy aircraft. To prevent forest fires, Canadians decided not to rely on a simple warning sign. Instead, they placed a gallows with a cigarette hanging from it in the park. The sign reads, "Anyone who throws a cigarette here will also be hanged." Native Americans getting accustomed to a car, 1915. Annual canal cleaning in Amsterdam, 1963. Over 20,000 bikes still end up in the canals every year. Scold's bridle, an item invented in the 1500s. An iron mask that tightly clung to the head was placed on women as a punishment for rude chatter and arguments. It was impossible to speak while wearing it. A bell was attached on top to attract attention. Presumably the last photograph of Adolf Hitler, taken 2 days before his death. Hitler inspects the ruins of the Reich Chancellery, April 28, 1945. Cleo Wright's jail photo from 1940. 2 years later, he was lynched. A white mob dragged him from his cell and burned him alive for the attempted rape of a woman and the murder of a police officer. American soldiers inspect the cremation ovens at the liberated Dachau concentration camp, 1945. In case of war, evacuate children, cover the windows, kill the cat, 1939, United Kingdom. In September 1939, within a week of the declaration of war, over 750,000 pets were killed in the UK. The reason was simple. There would be no food to feed them. Cedar Log Lumberyard in Seattle, 1939. A homing pigeon being released from a tank during battle. World War I, August 9, 1918. Korean entrepreneurs buy weapons for defending their property during the riot. Los Angeles, USA, 1992. The Nazis used victims' hair to produce socks, fuses, ropes, and mattresses. Camp commanders had to report monthly on the amount of hair collected. Photo related to HIV awareness by the CDC Historical Archives that was removed by Trump. Thanks. Children in bomb shield hats, headphones and protection from biting their tongues. Sydney, 1942. Chinese court, the most inhumane court in the world. Every day, one stone would be removed from under the feet of the man until he suffocates. Photo from 1906. In the picture is a river pirate who killed 6 people. Students at Augustana College react to the not guilty verdict of O.J. Simpson's murder trial. October 3, 1995. 3 Jewish men, all of whom survived the Auschwitz concentration camp and were liberated on the same day, reunite 73 years later. Photo from 2019. Black men arrested for lack of housing and employment will be used as free labor. Slavery, though abolished by law, simply took on other forms. USA, 1910. May 2, 1945. Soviet soldiers examined German awards that were never presented. Ballet dancers peeking into the men's changing room. Paris, 1948. 19-year-old Shigeki Tanaka survived the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and later won the 1951 Boston Marathon. The crowd at the finish line was silent. View of the epicenter of a nuclear explosion 2 seconds after the blast. Kazakhstan, 1949. Mass strike of African Americans and equality supporters. Tennessee, 1968. Loading a 5-megabyte hard drive into a plane, 1956. This massive IBM unit weighed over a ton. United Arab Emirates before discovering oil reserves. Dubai, 1976. Joe Reed's Guinness World Record jump, 1998. The stuntman jumped between buildings on a motorcycle with a 250 cubic inch engine. The distance between the buildings was 65 feet. Reed jumped to a height of 116 feet. President Joe Biden in his youth, 1960s. Policemen try to calm down a young female fan during a Beatles concert in New York, 1966. UK, 1943. A proud member of the Women's Corps shows off her new tattoo, a symbol of rebellion and style. A friendly gift, the bugging device hidden in the Great Seal. Thanks to this device, the USSR secretly eavesdropped on the United States for many years, 1945. Residents of East Berlin show their children to their parents in West Berlin. Murmansk after German carpet bombing, 1942. In one day, the Germans dropped 350 tons of bombs on the city. Testing bulletproof glass, New York, 1931. 80-year-old Tom called the last cannibal of Fiji in 1905. Photographed after cannibalism had officially ended on the islands. Love is stronger than all prejudices. In 1969, a protest against the use of bras was held in San Francisco. This giant sequoia was 2,600 years old when it was felled in the 1890s. Albert Einstein at his home in New Jersey, a month before his death, 1955. During the grueling search at Ground Zero in 2001, rescue dogs began spiraling into depression because they were only finding bodies. To boost their morale, volunteers hid in the rubble, allowing the dogs to find living survivors and restore their spirit. A nightclub in Paris where everyone chooses the music they want to dance to by tuning it in their headphones, 1963. What X-rays looked like in the 1900s. Ella Harper earned $200 a week as a star in a traveling freak show in the 1880s, born with a rare disease that caused her knees to bend backward. 3 years of war between these portraits. German soldiers testing the strength of the gallows before executing suspected Soviet partisans, 1941. My mental pain is unbearable, the same unresolved question. If my gun took people's lives, then I am guilty of their deaths. This was written in his last letter before his death by Mikhail Kalashnikov, the creator of the legendary AK-47. An army jeep in good condition, 1950s. Police Sergeant Birchew stops a stolen car, USSR, 1988. In the 19th century, many people feared being buried alive. Until 1934, some companies produced special safety coffins equipped with means for rescue. A prison in Panama, a net over an abyss, 1920. In the 1960s, a popular hippie slogan was, "Bombing for peace is like having sex for virginity." It was used by young people protesting the US war in Vietnam. It was World War II that forced girls to shave their legs. Nylon went to parachutes, and stockings had to be imitated with cream that only applied well to smooth skin. A century-old advertisement claimed that heroin kept your head always clear and fresh. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you!